I guess I should do a daily blog. Right now, the issue is anarchism, and I want to say something about this stupid anarchists, especially in Greece. Every time something happens that people don't like, some kid gets shot by the cops or something, they go out and start trying to burn down the whole country. Um, Utopianism is the other side of the coin of anarchism. Anarchism is a failed policy. Utopianism is a failed policy. Utopianists think that they should have a perfect government, and they look all over the world for a perfect government. They do not find any or encounter any perfect governments. So then they turn into anarchists. They think since no government is perfect, they will destroy all governments, and that'll be perfect. So the people who, everybody, I don't know anybody that's satisfied with the status quo. Trump isn't satisfied. It doesn't matter if you're Ron Paul, or I'm sure Obama's not satisfied with the status quo. But it takes an awful lot of theory to put a rocket on the moon, and you can't do it with just your emotions or juggling a few balls in the air. You have to know what you're doing. Trump does not have enough theory. He does not know foreign policy. He doesn't know that the spies are eating us alive. He doesn't know who got us in Iraq. He just knows he's got some rich friends, a lot of which drink and tell him bar stories, which he believes. But he is being mishandled, and he's not a philosopher. He's not a in a way, you could say he knows half the story. Maybe Ron Paul knows half the story. Paul doesn't know the whole story. There's nobody running that knows the whole story. If Obama knew the whole story, we'd already be out of the problem. Part of Obama's problems is he didn't do what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to let anyone with a bachelor's degree teach K-12, and he was going to get rid of the certification crap that's out there. That's a bunch of worthless education courses that are required right now that are a little bit of basic psychology that you can get in a regular psychology class that really don't help the teachers teach. And the teachers don't even know the subjects. A lot of times they get a degree in education, and they might take 20 hours of some courses in math, when a math major has 40 hours. A biology major takes 40 hours of biology. So they're not letting the people with bachelors of science in math and science teach, and meanwhile they're letting these stupid education people teach, and they've screwed up the system. Paul is talking about the government supporting education. The problem is the government is made up of the people, and the people aren't educated. The people are duped, and so they've got dupes running. It's like the blind leading the blind, and also we have a lot of functional illiterates who read the newspaper but don't read books. So all knowledge comes from books, and it takes a lot of knowledge uh, to solve the problems. We could technically be all living like kings if we had production for social need instead of private greed, but right now most of the laws protect private ownership of the means of production, and there's overproduction of automobiles and military equipment. The military budget is ridiculous. It's basically opposite of what Washington said to do, to pay down the debt in peacetime. Instead, Reagan quadrupled the national debt. Eisenhower said you didn't need a big peacetime military budget. We haven't declared war since World War II. We didn't have any business going into Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and we wouldn't have the problems we have now if we just went back to Washington's advice not to get involved in foreign entanglements, not to favor or disfavor any nation. We shouldn't be favoring Israel or China. We shouldn't be disfavoring Iran or Cuba. We should drop these stupid blockades and have free trade and normalize relations with everybody, and quit sticking our nose in Russia's business and everybody else's. So If we minded our own business, we'd be too busy to mind anyone else's, and we would be so strong that nobody would dare attack us. Also, this thing about the Second Amendment, I think a well-regulated militia necessary to the common defense. Every state should have a well-regulated militia. The boys, when they're 21, become men. I guess now that they're 18, they can drink. I still think 21 should be the age when you're adult. The parents throwing these kids out when they're 18 is baloney. The colleges don't think a kid's independent till he's 24 for school purposes. So, if if the colleges don't think they're grown till they're 24, then are independent, then they sure as hell aren't when they're 18. So, um, there's a bunch of problems with this country. There's social problems, political problems, and economic problems. So the political system works, but it takes time, and it takes time to solve the problems. We've got ourselves in a big mess. Like Paul says, we've got 900 bases overseas, costing us $1 trillion a year. We need to close down those bases. I would sell them to the Chinese who want to build an empire. We're not an empire. We never were an empire. We're a democratic republic, and I actually think Paul's making a mistake running as a Republican. I think he should start the Democratic Republican Party that Thomas Jefferson had until Andy Jackson broke off the Democrats. And Jackson, by the way, put us back on the gold standard, but it cost us all of our credit. If Paul wants to go back to the gold standard, then it makes him a Jacksonian Democrat. So I think he should change to the Democratic Republican Party, call it the American Party, get the independents to join it, get on the ballot in all 50 states, and run governors in all 50 states as Democratic Republicans with the motto, charity begins at home, rebuild America first. And he wants to restore America. Basically, he knows the story, he just doesn't know the half of the story is that the spies from the overseas are eating us up, and I don't mean Russian spies or Japanese spies or Korean spies. I mean Israeli spies. Obama said he was going to shut down the Israeli or the biggest the lobbies in D.C. The Israelis have the biggest lobby in D.C. No other country has a lobby except them. They've been blackmailing, bribing, coercing Congress to support their country, and they've created a mess. They got us in Iraq. They said Saddam was going to go nuclear. They started the first Gulf War. We're stupid enough to believe them, and they also lied about Gaddafi and Libya, and said Libya blew up the jet at Lockerbie. That was a lie. So they got us believing it. The British believed it. The French didn't believe it. The Spanish didn't believe it. The French have more sense than we do in some sense, and Sarkozy knows Netanyahu's a liar. But you've got Greece as a basket case. The German Nazis stole all the gold from Greece. Germany's in good shape. Greece is in bad shape. Why doesn't Germany give back this gold it stole? Hitler's billions were never found because they were hidden in the banks that the Thyssons created, their own banking system. So we pretty much let the Bush family, who made money off of this laundering Hitler's billions, and some other families got rich, and pretty much that's half of the problem as the Nazis that got jobs in the CIA after World War II. So we're still suffering from the Cold War, from the Vietnam War. Couldn't afford the Iraq wars. Now we're broke. They're blaming this on Obama. Obama is born in 1960. He's 8 years younger than me. Doesn't know what I know. Doesn't know what I just told you. Eric Holder isn't much better, and basically Panetta and these guys in D.C. are in a different world, their own little world, you might as well say. I mean, if you don't believe Iran is making nuclear weapons, then why in the hell would you put sanctions on them that are going to cause them to shut down the Straits of Hormuz? So you got a horrible situation over there. We should be leaving Iran alone, leave Venezuela alone, leave the Russians alone, leave the goddamn North Koreans alone. They wouldn't even be making they wouldn't even have made a nuclear weapon if we hadn't insulted them, is what I hear. So Hillary keeps sticking her nose in their business. Hillary's just a stupid little hick from nowhere with a law degree. And to let her be Secretary of State in this country is a joke. If she hadn't been Bill Clinton's wife, she would never have been Secretary of State. Now they're talking making her VP under Obama. It's going to be a complete disaster. Biden should have been Secretary of State. He knows that Iran's not making nuclear weapons. I don't know why he's shut up on this. It seems like the Israelis are really running our government right now, and they've run it in the ground. So we're the whore of Israel, like they were the whore of Babylon. And as Nietzsche says, don't ever forget that Israel was the whore of Babylon. So they were captured twice by the Babylonians. They were made into slaves, and they're pretty much doing now what the Nazis did to them in World War II, and now they're doing that to the Palestinians. So there's a whole big system set up to do that, plus run drugs and guns and everything else. And people like Trump think he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's his first rule of success is to be thorough and know what you're talking about, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he represents I would say, most of the Republican Party, and even Ron Paul, who semi knows what he's talking about. He knows Congress has given up its powers. He doesn't know it's been blackmailed to bribe to give them up. He doesn't know there's spies here causing have bought some congressmen. Some congressmen are bought and paid for by foreign powers. If he knew that, he really would be going ape. Uh, so that's the problem. You've got a bunch of people running around. I'd say it's the blind leading the blind, and there's really nobody running, and there should be a Democratic challenge to Obama. I'm willing to run against Obama and any Republican you can put up, including Paul, or run with Paul if he would talk to me as his VP mate. Santorum needs to get out, and Gingrich needs to go back to hell where he came from. And Romney's a waste of time because he's a Mormon. No grown man should believe that some guy saw Jesus in the desert out in the 1840s somewhere. I mean, who believes that crap? So sorry, but if you believe that, then I got a bridge in Brooklyn I will sell you. Okay, that's gonna, you're gonna have this nut leading the country. Give me a break. As Trump says, give me a frickin' break.